The Los Angeles morning sun filtered through the tall windows of Terry Crew's home office, casting long shadows across his mahogany desk. At 55, the former NFL player turned actor and television host had built an empire of success, but today felt the weight of something he couldn't bench press away, the growing distance between him and his 24-year-old son, Isaiah. Terry stared at his phone, scrolling through old photos of Isaiah as a teenager. Back then, his son would eagerly join him in the garage gym, their conversations flowing as naturally as their synchronized workouts. Now, their exchanges had dwindled to brief, polite texts about family gatherings and birthday wishes. The irony wasn't lost on Terry. Here he was, a man who'd built his career on authentic communication and vulnerability, unable to bridge the gap with his own son. He'd opened up about his struggles with addiction, his journey through therapy, and his commitment to breaking generational cycles of dysfunction, all on national television. Yet somehow, the most important conversation remained unspoken. His wife Rebecca knocked gently on the doorframe. "You're going to be late for the show," she said softly, noticing the melancholy in his expression. "The car's already here." Terry nodded, straightening his tie. Today's taping of America's Got Talent would require him to be the energetic, supportive judge millions of viewers expected. He'd perfected the art of compartmentalizing his personal struggles, a skill learned during his playing days when physical pain couldn't show weakness. As he gathered his things, his phone buzzed with a text from Isaiah. "Good luck on the show today, Dad. Love you." Simple words, but they hit Terry unexpectedly hard. When was the last time they'd said, "I love you," in person? When had their relationship become relegated to supportive text messages from a distance? The America's Got Talent studio buzzed with its usual pre-show energy. Crew members adjusted lighting, contestants ran through last-minute rehearsals, and fellow judges Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, and Sofia Vergara chatted animatedly about the day's acts. Terry settled into his judge's chair, but his mind remained elsewhere. During the commercial break, he found himself thinking about a conversation he'd had with his therapist weeks earlier about emotional availability and the courage required for vulnerable communication with adult children. Sometimes, his therapist had said, "The people closest to us are the hardest to reach because the stakes feel so high. We protect ourselves from the possibility of rejection by maintaining safe distances." The first few acts performed, a dance troupe from Phoenix, a young singer from Nashville, a comedy duo from Chicago. Terry offered his usual encouraging feedback, but his responses felt mechanical, lacking his typical enthusiasm. During another break, he pulled out his phone and stared at Isaiah's text from that morning. His thumbs hovered over the keyboard several times, starting and deleting messages. What do you say to your adult son when you realize you've let years pass without truly connecting? His phone buzzed again. Another message from Isaiah, this time longer. "Hey Dad, I know you're probably busy, but I wanted you to know I've been thinking about us lately. I miss our talks. I miss feeling close to you. I know we're both busy with our lives, but I love you so much and I'm proud of you every single day. I see how hard you work to be better, not just for yourself, but for all of us. I hope we can spend some real time together soon." Terry's breath caught in his throat. The message continued. "I've been watching old videos of us working out together when I was a teenager, and it made me realize how much those moments meant to me. You taught me so much about strength, not just physical, but emotional strength, about being vulnerable enough to grow. I want to be the kind of man you raised me to be, and I want to be the kind of son who doesn't let distance grow where love should be. See you soon, Dad. I'm always in your corner." The show resumed, but Terry could barely focus on the performances. Isaiah's words echoed in his mind, each sentence carrying the weight of years of missed opportunities for deeper connection. The raw honesty in his son's message reflected the very values Terry had tried to instill: courage, vulnerability, and the strength to reach across emotional distances. A father-daughter singing duo took the stage, their harmony filling the studio with a bittersweet melody about family bonds that transcend time and circumstance. As they sang about second chances and the courage to say what matters most, Terry felt his carefully constructed emotional walls beginning to crumble. The camera captured his reaction as the performance concluded, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Howie leaned over during the applause. "You okay, buddy?" Terry nodded, but his voice was thick with emotion as he spoke into his microphone. That was beautiful. You two remind me of something I sometimes forget, that the most important performances in our lives aren't on stage. They're in our living rooms, at our dinner tables, in our everyday moments with the people we love most. The audience sensed something deeper happening, their applause softening into attentive silence. Terry continued, his voice cracking slightly. I just received a message from my son that reminded me that being vulnerable isn't a weakness. It's the strongest thing we can do. Sometimes we get so caught up in being successful that we forget to be present. He paused, looking directly into the camera. Isaiah, if you're watching this, and I know you probably are, thank you for reminding your old man that love isn't just something we feel. It's something we show, something we say, something we make time for. The emotion in his voice was raw, authentic, impossible to ignore. Fellow judges sat in respectful silence, recognizing they were witnessing something profoundly personal unfolding in real time. The remainder of the show passed in a blur. During the final commercial break, Terry's phone rang. Isaiah's name appeared on the screen. Dad? Isaiah's voice was thick with emotion. I'm watching the show. Are you okay? I'm better than okay, son, Terry replied, stepping away from the judge's table. I'm grateful. Your message today, it broke something open in me that needed to be broken open. I didn't mean to make you cry on television, Isaiah said with a nervous laugh. Don't you dare apologize for speaking your truth, Terry said firmly. That's exactly the kind of man I raised you to be, the kind of man I'm still learning to be. They talked for the remaining minutes of the commercial break, making plans to meet for breakfast the next morning, not just a quick coffee, but real time together. No phones, no distractions, just father and son having the conversation they'd both been avoiding out of fear of vulnerability. When the show concluded, Terry's fellow judges approached him with knowing smiles. That was real, Sophia said simply, placing a supportive hand on his shoulder. As Terry drove home through the familiar streets of Los Angeles, he reflected on the day's unexpected turn. He'd started the morning feeling the weight of distance from his son and ended it with a renewed understanding of the courage required for authentic connection. His phone buzzed one final time with a message from Isaiah. Looking forward to breakfast, Dad, and thank you for showing me once again that real strength comes from being brave enough to be real. Terry smiled, finally understanding that the most important audience for his vulnerability wasn't the millions watching on television. It was the young man who'd learned to be courageously authentic by watching his father model it, imperfectly, but persistently, one honest moment at a time. The distance between them hadn't been about geography or busy schedules. It had been about the fear of being fully seen, but love, Terry realized, requires the courage to be seen completely, flaws, fears, and all. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message about the power of vulnerable communication in families. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories about real human connections. What's the most meaningful text you've ever received from a family member? Share your story in the comments below.